Hello and welcome to the Tank Club and welcome to the Tank Club Trial Academy. Every week I'm going to be completing a 12-person raid inside the Elder Scrolls Online and then posting the video here with the guide so you can complete the trial as well. The footage in these videos will not be the perfect trial. I will be completing these raids with my current Trial Academy group, which is inside the Rose Guild on PC EU. If you're interested in joining the Rose Guild and potentially the next Trial Academy group, then make sure you join the Discord, and the link can be found in the description below. This is a team that consists of players with very little to no trial or veteran trial experience. The criteria to join the team was very small, and a lot of these players have never completed a vet trial before, so that's the kind of level that we're working at here. Anybody needing a guide to complete this trial will be able to relate to the experiences seen within this video, since it's a very inexperienced and progressive group, and will be close to how the trial will be in reality when you are attempting it for the first time, or one of the first few times that you're going in there. I already have a guide for Ethereum Archive, which was our first trial that we did last week. For this week, we're going to be jumping into Citadel, which is a Craglorn trial, and it's the second one on our list. So let's get into the video. is one of the first trials introduced into the Elder Scrolls Online. It's a short one tank trial when completed on normal or veteran, with a second tank usually needed for the last boss hard mode. This is a high damage trial compared to the other Craglorn trials, with the first and the last boss hitting quite a lot of single target damage on the tank. Aside from that, it's not very mechanical or difficult trial. It doesn't have a lot of damage that's hard to deal with, and damage over time and bleeds and things like that compared to the newer raids that exist in the game. This trial was originally aimed at lower CP players, which is why it's one of the easier trials to complete. So when you go through the door, you will want to mount up and make your way to the bridge. Once you get to the bridge, you want to stop halfway and wait for the rest of your group. Once everybody's there, you're then going to continue on your mount and go past all of the small adds, because you don't need to really worry about them. You're going to stack those up with our method in a minute. So we try and keep everyone together. Once you get to the top of the stairs, you are going to want to focus on the flag adds, which are the war priests. And everybody wants to go and stack in the little gap in the wall. So there's a little space between the two pillars. If everybody stands there, all the adds will stack up and be easier to kill. The main focus here is to keep taunt on the war priests, and once they die, the next set of adds will spawn in, which are flame shapers, and your group want to stay here so that the flame shapers automatically walk into a nice neat stack so that they can be killed much faster. Once they are stacked up, your group can move out of the wall, because it is very difficult to see as your camera goes into a first person mode. So once the last war priest dies, the flame shapers spawn in, and then they immediately run to line of sight the group, and so they stack up. Any that don't stack up, if you just range taunt them and then go back into that same position, they will stack on the other ones. The flame shapers have a flame attack here where they raise a staff in the air and shoot fire at the group. When they do this, it just needs to be interrupted either by you or somebody else in your group. With this boss, it's not possible to switch gear or do anything like that. This will automatically pull if you don't taunt this boss after it's come through the door, and the first thing you do is taunt it and turn it around from the group. There are 3 adds that spawn with this boss. You can taunt those, or if you've got a second tank for whatever reason, the other tank can take them. The main attacks that are going to happen from this boss, so it does light attacks where it swings its swords from one hand and then the other. You've then got the sword throw AoE, where the boss clenches up and then opens up and shoots out AoEs across the floor. For the heavy attack, the boss will curl up and then open itself out and unleash a heavy attack. It looks very similar to the sword throw AoE, and you have to block this attack. This is its main damage attack. There is an AoE cone attack that only spawns on the tank. It shoots in just a direction towards the tank. This should be blocked, or it does knock you back, but it probably won't kill you, but it is better to block it. Occasionally you might get some small whirlwinds around your feet. As the tank, you just have to kind of tank them. Your other group members should try and circle around them so they don't take as much damage, but the main thing here is to maintain your position. You want to keep a very still position. You don't want to move during this fight. In terms of block and sustain, the only things you need to block are the heavy attack and the conal AoE, and then at 30% when the boss does its spin attack. At 30%, the boss will begin to do a spin attack, so you want to be keeping your eye on the boss percentage so you can keep your group aware of what is happening, and inform them when the boss gets to 40%, 35%, and then start telling them to move back, as that circle is quite big. For the tank, the best thing you can do is stand still and cast any mitigation skills and shields to just kind of get through that section of the fight. As a tank, you want to go through on the left side and you want to make sure that the tank and the healer go through that way first, so you're guaranteed to have at least a tank and a healer on that side. And then to make it easy, you can crouch in the corner next to the gate, and that will mean you don't have to endlessly kill the adds until this gate opens. Now the gate will open once the team on the right side pull the lever and open the gate, and then you'll have to fight a gargoyle. Once this gargoyle dies, a second one will jump down and you'll kill that one, and then hopefully by then your group have got the second lever which opens the next gate. When fighting against the gargoyles, they do two main attacks. They do a breath attack which stuns you and turns you into rock, and they do a ground slam AoE. They will do the ground slam after every 2 breath attacks, so you want to be counting the breaths. Once they have done 2 breath attacks, call out that the ground slam is coming, and this will mean that your group won't get killed by the gargoyles hitting the ground. The way to avoid the gargoyle breath is by stepping out of it, but sometimes even when you step out of it, you'll still get turned to stone. All you need to do is break free and you should be fine. It's not really something that is too dangerous and is going to kill you. Once the gargoyles are dead, you should go back through to the previous room. Just make sure you kill these adds because they can cause issues with being stuck in combat. So you want to just run back and kill those and then go through to the final room on this left side, and you go over the rock and to the door. Wait for the door to open. Your group can stack here and quickly kill the adds that come from this door. And then as a tank, you'll turn around and you've got a couple of adds. You've got adds coming out of the opposite side, and then you've got one of the big flag adds, a war priest, that is also at the other door. So there's 3 doors in total where adds are coming from. Generally, just block the heavy attack from the war priest. Nothing else really does a whole lot of damage. And then once this dies, the next set of adds spawn in. They spawn again at opposite sides of the room from the 2 doors in the same place that they just came from. So you want to take all the adds here, stack them up in the middle, and then chain in any stragglers that are left behind. When these adds are beaming somebody, the best idea is to block. You can kind of take it out of group, but you can just block it and it won't really do that much damage. There's a heavy attack as well, which should block, and the adds also do a jump attack where they jump towards you. There is some archers that spawn around the edges, 4 of them in total. Chain them into the stack and then get ready for the last add pull. The last add pull, you've got 2 flame shapers. You want to stack these both up, so taunt both of the flame shapers as a priority. You can taunt the Wellwers as you're doing that and while you're running, but they're not going to really cause that much damage. When you run and stand near the edge there, they'll stack up, get the interrupt, and then take any of the Wellwers that are loose. Make sure you get the interrupts on these flame shapers. When you do bash them, try to bash them into each other. So stand facing the other one so you can bash it towards the other one so they stack closer together, and use that moment to interrupt it into position. Again, as soon as these adds are dead, the boss is going to come into the room straight away, and we start this boss fight. So the main thing here, you want to taunt the enraged Wellwers and the boss, and then run and stand the opposite side. There's no real reason for the group to kill the Wellwers here, because the faster you kill the Wellwers, especially as a lower DPS group or a newer group, it's going to mean that you get more Wellwers. So the longer you leave them, the better it'll be. Now, you do want to utilize this to your advantage by saving the Wellwers. The little corners here are where you're going to stand. So when the boss runs away, your group should stay where they are, and you bring the boss back to the group. So the main focus of the group should... So as you stand in the little corner here, the boss will just run back. So if he runs to the left side, you stack in the little corner on the left. If he does so on the right, you go into the little crevice in the wall on the right side. This simplifies the fight so your group don't have to keep running around and recasting all of their dots. Once the Wellwers do their enrage and go really big, this is where you can start to kill them. And you want to kill them on top of the boss, so the boss will keep coming back and remaining in position. The reason why you don't focus the Wellwers is because they go to that enraged phase and lose the majority of their health, and then they become much easier to kill. When a Wellwer dies, the boss will go and resurrect it, which is why you don't want to kill them too fast, because when this happens, more and more will start to spawn and run into the room. There's only really a few attacks you need to watch out for here. The Wellwers do apply a armor shatter to you, which means you will take more damage. Every time the boss runs away, you just go wherever you need to go to bring it back. So you just take a few steps back to the wall if he runs straight behind the group. If he goes to the left, obviously in the left side, right in the right side. Make sure you keep the Wellwers, and then just hold them on this side so the group have got full focus on the boss. The Wellwers will hurt quite a lot when you get quite a few of them. The boss does a fire attack where he throws a fire AoE on the floor and then it shoots out in multiple directions. Obviously, when you've got the shatter and multiple Wellwers, it's ideal not to stand in that if you can help it. You don't want to be too far away from the boss or from your group here, because the healer will need to heal you if you're taking a lot of damage.
When you're getting towards the end of the fight, the best thing you can do is bring the Welwers onto the boss so that the boss will not run off. He'll just keep resurrecting the Welwers, and then that makes him stay where he is because it takes a few seconds. It's a long animation where he gets stuck in that animation next to the boss. As you can see here, all 3 died at the same time, and then we were able to push damage because the boss didn't move for that entire portion of the fight. And then once the boss dies, you've got to wait for the people on the right side to kill their boss, and then you pull the lever once they are both dead to go through. A good idea on this part of the fight is for you to take this ad and then your whole group to light attack only so that they can build their ultimates. The reason for this is so you can do a really good ad pull on the next part. So when you do light attacks, that is the way to generate ultimate, and as well you can do that as a tank, so you can use a horn or a barrier or whatever ultimate you are using. So the best way to do this ad pull is to have one person blow the horn and the rest of your group to stack up. You can get really close to this ad pull and it will not aggro. You wait for the person to blow the horn, and then you wait for all of the ads to run down the stairs. Your group should then run through the ads, and midway up the stairs, the tank should take the gargoyles. In this case, I have got an off tank, so I'm teaching somebody to tank. So the off tank takes the 2 gargoyles and points them to the left side. The other tank, or if you are the only tank, you take all of the flag ads, and then everything else should stack at the bottom of the stairs. Once everything is stacked at the bottom of the stairs, your group come down off the stairs and kill the stack of ads. You drop your ultimates here on everything. Obviously, your group don't want to stand too close to the gargoyles. If you are tanking, you want to be calling out for the ground slam. As you can see there, the ground slam is happening from the gargoyles, and you don't want that to kill your group. Everything is stacked up. You can bring the gargoyles closer to the stack if you wanted to. If your group are not on the stairs, you could stand with the gargoyles pointing upwards towards the stairs so that the breath doesn't hit the group and the ground slam isn't near them as well. Once the gargoyles are dead, just make sure you've taunted everything else so that it's not focusing attacks on the group members. Once everything is dead, it's on to the last boss. So as we go into the last boss, this is one of the higher damage portions of this trial, but it's only really one mechanic. Now you are listing out for the boss to say 1,000 cuts like whispers in the wind, and this is 4 attacks that happen in rapid succession that do hit quite hard. That is the main thing that you need to block during this fight, and everything else is kind of not much of an issue to deal with, so you're able to get your heavy attacks out and do all those kinds of things. Wait until after the 1,000 cuts, then do your heavy attacks for your sustain. At that point, you don't need to block as much. That's when you can do your bar swaps and your back bar skills and maintain your buffs and debuffs. Listen out for that 1,000 cuts. That is the main attack. There are a few different things that are going to happen here. So we're going to have a shield throw AoE, a boss jump. We're going to have ads spawning in. We're going to have the room exploding at 35%. We get the Dawnbreaker style sword slam, the conclave attack, and then the starfall. At the start of the fight, you want to taunt the boss and bring it close to this blue section. Your group want to stand in the blue section there because that is going to give them a damage boost. Here's the 1,000 cuts, 4 attacks that hit quite hard. At that phase, you want to just shield up. The boss will turn around and throw his shield. It's a big, huge red carpet that you'll see on the ground, and that just needs to be stepped out of. The 1,000 cuts is a very, very frequent attack, and then you quickly get a couple of ads spawning in the room. When the boss goes and runs away, he will then jump back into the group. That just needs to be blocked. You should not run out of the jump, the big circle AoE. You just stand in it and block to maintain your position. In this fight, we have got an off tank, so I'm not taking the ads, but if you did, you'd taunt the destroyers, and then it'd be ideal if you try to stack the mages when the boss is doing other mechanics, but otherwise just make sure they're interrupted with crushing shock. The boss is now going to smash the other statue and then come back to the group. It's going to throw a shield, which I'm going to step out of, and then range taunt to bring him back, and now I'm maintaining position in the middle of this platform so that can help my group in the latter stages of this fight. The flame ads are the ones that you have to interrupt, so if you are a solo tank, you'll want to put crushing shock on your back bar to just kind of get those, or somebody in your group can do it. This mechanic happens over and over again. As you can see, it's the same mechanics over and over again. It's the shield throw, it's the 1,000 cuts, and it's a couple of light attacks. So not too complicated. When the boss does the jump, like I say, you just block it. The ads will occasionally spawn in. The faster you push the boss to 35%, the less ads you'll get, because when you hit that 35%, no more ads will spawn.
And any ads that are still alive will also die.
When the boss is ready to smash the room, he stands in the middle and holds his weapon in the air. This will knock everybody back, and you want to try and close the gap really quickly. He no longer throws his shield as he's not holding one anymore. He now does this Dawnbreaker looking sword attack and a cleave attack now as well. We get the 1,000 cuts, and here we go. This is the Starfall attack now, where your group needs to be spread out. They shouldn't be overlapping, and as a tank you can be spamming skills such as Igneous Shield to help your group. The boss does the sword into the ground attack. Every time he does 2 of these, he then does the Starfall attack after 2 of the Dawnbreaker style sword slams. Whenever he does the Dawnbreaker sword slam, he also does a cleave, usually in the same direction. During the execute phase, the mechanics you are looking out for is obviously the 1,000 cuts. You're looking out for the Dawnbreaker sword slam attack, followed by the cleave attack, and then obviously every time he's done 2 of those Dawnbreaker sword slams, that's going to be Starfall next, and that is it for execute. For the tank, you just want to maintain position. If your group are too far away, the boss will start to jump around the room. This can make it more difficult as you will need to cast more range taunts. You don't want to follow the boss though. You want to maintain your position in the center and just range taunt to try and bring him back over. If your group are nice and compact like they were in this particular video, the boss will not jump away, and that is the ideal situation. So that is everything for this trial. If you've got any questions about how to do this trial, if you're having any problems with it, please let me know in the comments below or on the Tank Club Discord. The link is in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.